talk about the consciousness of cancer. That is the title of a piece of artwork that I did in partnership with a woman named Sharon who had died from pancreatic cancer. And as a little bit of history, through the opening of my sentient body, I came to realize that I could dialogue with the spirit world, with people who had lived here on earth and passed over, which is a whole story in and of itself and was quite shocking for me initially. So given that we accept that I can dialogue and build a relationship with people in the spirit world, I chose to partner with individuals in the spirit world in my artwork. For example, the piece of artwork behind me, the partner is Grant. And I'm not going to talk about Grant today. I'm going to talk about Sharon and the consciousness of cancer. Sharon was the wife of a client who came to see me, and when he left, she didn't. She just sort of hung out, and she was a spirit body who didn't ask for a lot. She just sort of hung out and was quiet, didn't say much. And sometimes I didn't really recognize that she was around. And then in March of 2010, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that's when Sharon became really active. She was head boss lady on my medical team on the other side. And she was the one that came to me and said, "Ellen, don't be afraid." And I laughed and said, this is cancer we're talking about here. Don't be afraid. And she said to me, "Speak to the fear. Make the fear your friend and your ally. Speak to the fear. Furthermore, Ellen, speak to the consciousness of cancer. Cancer has a consciousness. Speak to it. Tell it what you're afraid of. Tell it that you're willing to partner with it. Tell it what you need out of this experience." And I debated and I resisted, and Sharon said to me, "You have a choice, Ellen. You can go through this experience one way, or you can choose to do it differently and accept this experience with grace. And part of accepting this experience with grace is talking to the consciousness of cancer and making fear your friend and your ally." And so that's what I did. And I could talk at length about my experience with cancer, but what I really want to talk about is the piece of art that Sharon partnered with me on. It was the first piece of art that I completed after going through chemotherapy and radiation. It was her who spoke to me about seeing the medical community with God consciousness and not to judge the medical diagnosis or the medical treatment, but rather to partner with the chemotherapy and to partner with the radiation. And again, I could talk at length about how I went about doing that. But the reality is she was my guide through cancer. She was my guide through cancer. And when I completed the treatment process and I sat down to do my first piece of art, and I asked, "Who comes next?" she was there. And I feel exceptionally grateful for her perspective that she relayed to me on the consciousness of cancer. And I often have people question the benefits of listening for and dialoguing with our loved ones on the other side, people who've passed over who want to support us. And what I've just talked about is one example, and I have many, but one example of why we would choose to partner with those who have passed over and who are here to support us and act as our guides as we walk through our life experience. In my reality, there's a huge benefit to building relationships with dead people who are very much alive. I often joke about I have dead people who are more alive than the alive people on the planet behaving robotically. For me and my sponge body, we have a capacity to build a relationship with people here in human form and to love people here in human form. But also, I have the capacity to do the same with the spirit world. And my belief is that everyone does. It's the slowing down, being present, staying in the moment, and trusting the love and the support that's being offered to us.